hummingbird. And that is our logo, which kind of tells us that we're going to keep on humming.
Okay.
Chenova as a company wants to keep on humming and kind of really do things that kind of adds value.
I guess no one of us knew till now what the meaning was.
Yeah, actually.
Nice.
Got the opportunity to Google it before coming for the meeting, so that's a good idea.
So it's like this. The idea behind, or probably the intent behind keeping Chenova as a name, probably we know it's a bird, it's a hummingbird, but yeah, the intent of having Chenova as a name. Like there are a lot of hummingbirds in the birds category, but yeah, why Chenova? It would be the question we can reframe it like, why Chenova? Why not other?
I would not be the right person to know because I didn't name that baby. But yes, I think it's a valid question, and one reason I can think of is it has to be unique.
That's great.
And it has to symbolize in terms of what we want to do as a company. That two things I can definitely say could be two possibilities.
Because being Chenova, looking at a lot of hummingbirds, Chenova is something which I don't know, many of us has even heard about Chenova as a bird or something like that.
I don't know.
Now, that's what's happening. After being in Chenova,
Yes.
from last 5 years, I know that what exactly Chenova is.
It's interesting because possibly 8-9 years back, we used to conduct these sessions for new joinees, and that is where we used to run through a presentation where this discussion was done. That practice has stopped. So yes, this is something that I know people have a common question of what and all that. So.
Alright, great. So, is there anyone on the chat who wants to ask any question, or shall we take one more offline question? Okay, there is one question from Piyush. Can we expect blockchain project in Chenova as many people are interested in it?
Chenova as a company has always been trying to adapt and learn newer technologies, and blockchain is definitely one of them. It's one of those things where it's like a chicken egg situation. If I have to take an example of cloud, we were one of the very first companies within India, I would say, in terms of doing cloud work or getting cloud in terms of services and everything. And blockchain has been more focused in terms of financial domain as such. It has adapted to medical healthcare things. But yes, I don't know, I cannot promise. We don't have any visibility at this point in time, but we'll definitely try and see if we can work towards getting something on blockchain. The technology definitely interests me. I have personally taken up a webinar on blockchain, and I understand some of the conceptual thing in terms of ledgers, distributed ledgers, but from a practical perspective, it is more applicable towards financial services from what I have read. Piyush, you will be on the project if we get one.
He gave a thumbs up to you. Okay, so we'll take one offline question. It is an anonymous question, and it is kind of hot topic. Can we not give leverage of 5 minutes to people for 12 p.m. in time policy, or rather, can we stop that policy?
Not get time.
So instead of 12, if someone reports at 12:01 or 12:02, can we give them a grace time of 5 minutes? And then the question ending is, can we just stop this policy altogether?
I like this anonymous question.
You know what? If I have to go back, go back to the point of where we started this, right? This request actually came from the managers because on the ground they were facing problems in terms of conducting their daily morning meetings or scrum meetings, and a lot of people were kind of not there, coming late and all that thing. So there was a lot of back and forth that happened at that point in time, and it was agreed that we should have a core working hours. Before even implementing it as a concrete policy, we had given it a time of 3 to 4 months in terms of getting people used to it, right? And I think on a positive note, it has really worked very well. We've got a lot of positive feedback from people in terms of coming on time and working with the teams. We have our overlap hours, so that also has to be factored in. As far as the 5 minutes go, my personal belief, and I believe Chenova too, it would be injustice to people who are really, working towards coming here on time. More than the 5 minute thing, it's like, how can I really make that 12 o'clock should be the way to look at it, in my opinion. So the second question possibly becomes nullified then, right?
So this might raise another question next AMA. Like, why don't we increase to next 5 more minutes? And this will keep going. So at least when we have a deadline, it is always better to be prepared with.
Yeah, I think it's more of just inculcating the discipline. I mean, we have been flexible, honestly, right? In terms of when there are challenging situations, whether it's an election, whether it's a riot. So we have, or even rains, we have been pretty flexible and proactively send out email, reach out to people that find, yes, you guys take care of yourself first and then figure out how to reach work.
Mike Fortino posted a question. Do you like the name Genoa?
I love it. Mike, it's been 16 years to the date, 1st December 2003. Some of you guys have sent a congratulations on LinkedIn.
Oh,
I didn't realize it, but today when I saw the responses, so it's been great, Mike, and Genoa is definitely the name I love.
Anyone over here wants to ask any question?
I want to ask one.
Yeah.
So, I'm saying, sorry. Parag, how the company takes care of the career growth of each and every employees in terms who are looking for a longer career path within Chino. So, how management think about it and how they plan the different growth plan or the career plan for employees. So, how do people from the management side think about it?
Any company, or even in this case Genoa, right? I mean, it's built by people, right? I mean, if I have to do something on my own, there's a different way to do it. But when we are building people or building teams, right, their growth, whether be it from a technical perspective, whether be it from a responsibility perspective, is at the core of all these things. I mean, I can even go back and say, back in 2007, we didn't have a project manager. So we know in terms of what it takes, how do we really get people, and we have cases where people have come back multiple times in Genoa. So Genoa does have a very focused understanding of saying, how do we really build people? How do we really build each of us is different. Somebody is a people's person, somebody is a technically geek, as they call it, or somebody is kind of, more of a salesperson. So we have to find the best in the individual, identify what and how we can take more responsibilities and really help us grow the company.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'll take one offline query, which is again an anonymous query. It's, when will the leave count increase? Should be at least 30. It has been sticking with 20 for a pretty long time.
I think it's 30, right? 20 plus 10 public holidays.
Nice one.
That is your math.
That is my maths.
We are talking about
No, as Genoa, as it grows, right? We always try and reach out in terms of what happens in the industry. And we have done that recent January 2019. Our leave structure is more or less in line in terms of what industry and us as a company is offering. I'm sure there is argument that somebody offers 24, somebody offers this thing, but in terms of what we are and how we have seen other companies in terms of their policies, we are pretty much in line. And we are more than happy to review it as we kind of go and do things and grow more beyond what we are right now.
So additionally to what you are talking, Litin has asked, in addition to that, can we get paternity leave?
This point, I think I have heard that in terms of some of my friends in the Indian companies. So I think we are more than happy to review the policy if that makes people happy and they can contribute more towards their family and then consequently to our work. we should look at it, I would say.
All the future fathers are happy.
Well, but
I really want to ask Nitin, why is he asking? Nitin, hum do, hamare to ho gaya.
I see, the more I think about it, I mean, I am hoping that paternity leave is not as long as the maternity leave, right?
Otherwise, it would backfire.
Expectation wise.
Nitin has replied, it's for my friends I'm talking about. Bhavya Mittal has one question. As every IT company is more inclined towards AI, so is there any chance that Genoa can enter into same trends, artificial intelligence?
Like, I think similar to what you start on the blockchain, right? Genoa keeps on adapting to newer technologies and aligns itself in terms of what the market needs are. Some of the things that we have been doing in the US, right? If you guys have gone through some of the blogs that are being put up, we have taken some level of machine learning, which kind of then converts into artificial intelligence. So some of these things becomes a POC to begin with in some engagements, and then takes on the shape of an AI. AI is, I don't know, per se, my personal view is that it's too hyped up in terms of what AI means and what it means to different people. So AI per se, technology-wise, there's a lot of things that gets done before the AI comes into picture. The data science and machine learning and all those things. So, Bhavya, to your question, yes, we are working towards getting into AI and talking to clients in terms of how we can really help them with this newer technologies.
Just wanted to add in the same, there are AR and VR is also something which is getting more and more popular.
AR and VR.
AR and VR.
Yeah.
This is augmented reality and virtual realities nowadays, which is into the market where the IT companies are getting into it and trying to get this technology also working towards it. So do we have something like this in future, or we can plan?
Augmented reality is a very specialized field from what I know. So it requires very, very deep understanding of certain domains, meaning the technical domains. So I would be confident to say that we are not going to be approaching that in terms of that thing. But at the same time, if one of our client kind of is keen to kind of have us explore it, we are more than happy. On our own, I would want to say that we have a lot of other things to kind of at our hands to be able to really get into something which is requiring a different skill set.
We'll take one offline.
Yes, one more offline and again anonymous. So can we have chatbot projects in Genoa?
Blockchain, reality, chat.
Same answer.
Chatbots has a little similar answer in terms of we do explore newer technologies. We have done a POC on chatbots for one of our US clients, Madison Square Garden to be specific. It's not come to the offshore part of it. And chatbots, from our view, the use cases have not really delivered as per expectations. Okay. Having said that, we continue to explore in terms of what more we can do, but or continue to explore cases where we can possibly make them more satisfied to what the client needs are. But from what we have done little bit, I don't claim that we have a lot of experience or things, but I would say that chatbots is something that will take its own time in terms of becoming a project.
There is one question from Pushpak. Is there any possibility that Genoa will provide facility of wellness room?
Facility for wellness room.
Yeah.
Sure. I think we need to kind of grow to find out in terms of how do we really. Before wellness, I would think we need a game room. Right. So from a priority perspective, that would be there, and then we'll get to the wellness room.
Yes.
So wellness, just to clarify before I make any assumption, is to do with meditation.
No, so
It's more to do with the gym.
More, yeah. I think health related.
Health.
I think startup recreation.
Rest. So Pushpak wants to take a nap for 1 hour.
So I was not wrong in saying that it's a wrong assumption, right? I had something else in mind. Pushpak had something else in mind. We all had gym in mind. So
Ashwini asked, great, can it have aromatherapy?
I know what the next thing is going to be, right? Spa. It's a wish list. I really look up to all of you guys to help us grow, and we'll get there.
Okay. Taufik Ansari has one question. Being the healthcare domain company, we have very less healthcare certification as compared to the other healthcare companies. What was Chenoa future plan with respect to healthcare domain?
There are two questions. One is about the certifications. I'm assuming he's talking about healthcare security certifications. I'm assuming. So if that is a question, then we are talking to achieve high trust certification in the coming year. High trust, for people who are not aware, I'll take a minute, is based on ISO 27001 security certification and is geared towards more of healthcare. Most of the payers and providers in the US have been requiring their vendors to be high trust certified. So that's the answer to the certification part. If my understanding of his question of certification is. Second question is, what is the future of healthcare?
With respect to healthcare domain, what are Chenoa plans?
Chenoa has been doing a lot of work in the healthcare space, from engaging with clients to creating products. We have a history example being Ortho Vitals, Zenio, and we have got a lot of good people that have built the experience on that domain. So for us, I think we will continue to pursue healthcare, create products along the way if that opportunity arises, and really, build the domain expertise and then top it up with newer technologies to provide solutions.
To add to that, Anubhav has asked if we can enter Indian healthcare market.
We can enter Indian healthcare market, but it's too immature in my reading. Number one, the spend of healthcare in India is very low. Forget the spend on healthcare IT. The healthcare itself needs a lot of investments. So the IT takes a second in my opinion. And to kind of justify in terms of US, I mean, a lot of us already know, but I'll repeat. In the US, healthcare industry spends the second largest amount on IT after BFSI or financial services companies. So there is a lot of opportunity.
There is one question which has 11 people already reacting to it, which is, when can we see a return of Diwali bonus?
When can we see a return of Diwali bonus? I think here again, I would go back to our constant effort to align ourselves with the industry. I'm sure some people who are around for some time, we used to have that thing when we were small. But along the way, we have matured in terms of our HR policies, and it is kind of, because of that we are kind of trying to really be in line with what the industries are, where it is all put as part of the upfront package, then kind of break it up throughout the year. So the answer to that, if I were to answer, is right now I don't see a short visibility in terms of getting that back.
So Kunal has raised a big hand. No, so let us give some importance to people present over here. Yes, Kunal.
I want to ask Parag about his hobbies.
About his hobbies. So what do you do in your free time? There was one anonymous question as well.
What do you do in your free time? I like to travel. I like to play and follow sports. I make it a point to run half marathon once a year. So I've been doing that for the last 12 plus years.
In Chenoa for 16 years, do you get time to travel?
I did
I've
get
hardly seen you taking long leaves.
We always see you in your cabin. So
I do. I do make it a point to take at least one vacation a year. I don't know if you guys don't notice.
Maybe you're always there on Teams, even on the travel routine.
Yeah, but I am officially on leave. So yeah, I love sports. I like to travel, and I like to read. And reading wise, I really follow a lot of finance.
So in just continuation to that, like, who is your biggest role model in your professional career?
I like entrepreneurs, so I don't know if I can name one or two, but people of different kinds in terms of, from a technology perspective, Michael Dell, Steve Jobs, definitely are role models. And within the Indian context, if I have to say Narayan Murthy, in terms of doing it in the Indian context, challenging business environment that is here and creating a almost like the defining IT. So those are people that I always feel that inspire you.
So are those the values that they carry with themselves or the kind of work that they've done in the IT industry?
No, it's not just the IT. I mean, I use Narayan Murthy, but for that matter, even if I have to use Azim Premji, though it is in Wipro, but there is a very lot of non-IT part that Wipro has done. As Azim Premji as a person, I don't know how much of you guys follow, but Azim Premji Foundation is the largest philanthropy exercise in India. So it is the principle in terms of how do you really run a business. I mean, I could have named Ratan Tata, but it's more of a continuing the legacy. When you have somebody who's created something from scratch, right? He had his father's business. He started his oil things, and he kind of built the whole Wipro IT services company. And of course, if I have to add others, role model wise, lately, sports people like Virat Kohli, in terms of not their own personal thing, but what they are trying to really bring in value to other sports, encouraging people in terms of doing things that they dream of.
So I have one offline query here, and it's again anonymous. Can there be a policy for leaves getting forwarded from current year to next year?
So second year to leaves. Policy-wise, when we are talking about leaves, right? The belief is that all of us need the break. I think people find that I don't take a break, but that's not true. So yeah, belief-wise, I think we really want people to take their leaves. Really encourage them that they should plan the leaves in terms of being in the consulting services industry, right? You got ups and downs in terms of the work schedule. So the intent of not forwarding the leaves to the next year came from the belief that we really encourage people that plan your leaves with your teams, with your family. Take that break that you truly deserve. Come back rejuvenated. So if I start that same thing, right? We have asked for 5 minutes, next AM they'll ask for 10 minutes. So right, the idea is to really encourage taking leaves.
There's a question from Ram. Why don't we develop our own product?
I think back in 2000, right, the same question was being done. Why doesn't Infosys have its own product? So I'm not saying that we are Infosys, but a product has its own gestation period. In the current competitive environment, a product really requires patience, it requires the drive, and it requires deep pockets. In terms of marketing, even if you have a technically sound product, I think the majority of the budget that gets spent is on marketing. And in the current day and age of people's short span, making a product successful, whether it's a business to business or it's a business to consumer, has its own challenges. But every software person who's an entrepreneur would dream to kind of just, I have an idea that I can convert to product. It's a matter of getting the right team and doing it. So, I mean, if you look at your own team, Ram, I mean, HRA was a product that we actually helped build. There was a concept done. We built OrthoVitals as a product. We have Zenio as a product. So yes, along the way, when we get opportunities, we do convert. But we have seen challenges in terms of how can they successfully help us in terms of growing. Is not always a well-defined path.
Ram has one more question. Where are we on AI? Ram, the session has been recorded. Parag has already answered that, so you can later on view the recording. Thomas has one interesting question. What inspired Parag to participate in football and be compared to Ronaldo this year, as he only participated in cricket previous years?
That's his short-sightedness. Thomas, honestly, I think I've never played football. I would say played real football, or I should say played football back, 30 years back when it was in the rains and all that thing. So honestly, there's nothing that inspired me. I always love sports. I follow it. I don't follow soccer that closely, but I was telling the same question actually in a different words was asked by Arinjay on that day, and my response was, I observe and learn in terms of what to do, how to do, and I having played sports, there is an athletic angle to doing things. So I feel that possibly was what it got me playing. But we missed you on that day, Thomas.
Yes, Thomas, we did. Rex missed especially. There is a question from Aditya Desai. What if you get to work on a project which requires you to code? Would you take it?
Always, any day. People that I work with closely can tell me that Parag ko दूर रखना इधर से.
As you remember.
I am always itching.
I was supposed to ask
So
Aditya's next project should be with Parag.
I am dangerous enough to talk. I don't know how good I can code.
Okay, we'll take one from the people present over here. Mihir, the
Technologies which we are using in our project, is it client choice or based on the resources we have in our company?
It's a combination. We always invest in technologies in terms of building the competency and use that to offer to our clients. So sometimes clients do have their own, if I have to take examples of clients, they say that, we want to do it in XYZ technologies. Can you help us? In certain clients, they say that, if we want to get this thing done, what would you recommend? So based on how the client's needs are, we adapt. But as far as people goes, we do invest in terms of identifying technologies that will be available or that will be required in the future.
Mihir.
In the past, we are having that facility of sending people for overseas projects and overseas opportunities are there. It was not seen from last 4 years.
Blame it on Trump.
Mr. Trump.
No, on a serious note, I don't know how much you follow in terms of other companies, but there are multiple visas that takes you there, right? You got your L1, you got your B1. So what has happened in the last 4 years, not necessarily Trump, but even prior to that, they have cut down the immigration policies of US has cut down on B1 visas in terms of business travelers. A technology person going there to do business, they say not required. Even L1s have been cut down. They're almost come down to zero. A lot of companies, I don't want to compare to others, but the trend is that applications have got rejected. We have ourselves had experience of people sending there twice and they got rejected. So we know for a fact that B1 nahi hota hai. L1 is getting almost rejected upfront. H1 is the only one that kind of remains. And H1 has a lot of, in the last couple of years, H1 from what I have heard and read, has its own challenges in terms of stamping being done not for a long duration, but a very short duration, as low as 1 month at times. So given these challenges, we don't want to put our people into a situation where they kind of have to be sent back and forth.
Apart from US, why don't some other regions of like
countries
Middle
and
East
those.
or Europe?
We have honestly not explored those areas. Like I said, we are still trying to see how much more we can do in US because our base is there. We've got more confidence of doing that. But to your question, we in the last year's planning or even going forward, we are trying to see how we can get Middle East. We've got few of the discussions going, and we'll see how that works.
I have one offline query here, and this is again anonymous. Can Genoa explore or aim for different kind of projects like gaming projects, projects related to performance tuning, or etc.?
Gaming projects. So I think if I have to try to answer that similar to the augmented reality, right? Gaming has a very specialized skills, and typically that's done by companies who create games or own games, product companies, if I have to say. So for Genoa to pick up projects would really not be fair because we don't have the wherewithal to kind of do those kind of development. And plus, they may not be for the long term. Games are kind of are product companies primarily. So for us, gaming is definitely a no-no. On the other one you said was
Performance tuning.
Performance tuning. I think performance tuning is part and parcel of projects in terms of when you do large-scale projects. Performance tuning is part and parcel of that exercise. So as a separate offering, I don't know what the question is, but it's something that we do in terms of when we go into production or when we go into larger volumes, we have to do performance tuning.
Okay, we'll take one lighter question, which is anonymous again. Who do you find the funniest in Genoa?
That's a tough one. One thing I can be sure that Harshad or Harsha Bogle during the sports day, he can make everybody laugh.
Okay. There's one more offline query, which is again anonymous. If not in IT, which profession you would be in?
Finance is definitely one area that I would have.
Is your Gujarati blood talking?
I don't know about Gujarati blood, but I was background is that one of my friend in the US, he was appearing for his CFA exam, and he used to talk and talk about things. And I said, why can't I do it? So I actually ended up appearing for my CFA exam, not with the intent of passing it, but just to kind of gain knowledge. And so I tell people that I'm dangerous enough to talk about finance. But yeah, I love finance.
Did you pass that CFA?
No, but I still have those 6 books, which is a Bible for me in terms of what it still kind of holds true. That's 25 years back. So yes, finance would be one option as a profession that I can choose.
We have a question from Jaishri. Can we arrange training program for the skill set which we already have? And let others to balance the knowledge. Also, people who are interested can enroll for certification program and upgrade the knowledge. Can Genoa sponsor certifications? So
Yes.
2 things over here. One is training as for the skill sets which we already have, and if certifications can be paid by Genoa.
So, I mean, if I have to answer that by saying that we did that exercise using Word Suite in the recent past, and if there are more such trainings that we can help people to reskill or upskill, definitely it's a good suggestion, and we should take it up. I mean, we'll talk in terms of our training calendar and how to build that in. As far as the certification goes, I think we have a training budget for every employee, and if those certifications work in line with what you can gain and along the way Genoa can gain, we should have those policies in place.
Hardik Prajapati asked this. Are we following the required internal process, development process, and the agile methodology in Genoa?
The true answer is no. But we are following agile, or we would like to follow agile, and we are building processes to really kind of get there.
Thomas has one more question, and everybody seems to like whatever Thomas is asking
Yes,
because there are more than +5 reactions to it. When will we have a reduction of notice period to 1 to 2 months, as we were advised 2 years back that this will be revisited?
It is again in line with the policies that we have seen in the industry. I think we increased from 3 months or increased to 3 months in line with what the industry moved. So we would revisit along with the industry. So when we review in terms of how we stand, our policies stand vis-a-vis the industry, we're more than happy to revisit it.
Aditya Desai has one more question. Can we have our own pantry with varieties rather than only tea and coffee?
Yes, I would like to have it. I think question is about how do we really get to a place where we can have that extra space. I mean, on the lines of what Pushpak asked. So if I can get space, we'll do all these additional things that we need.
On the similar lines, can we look out for a place where it's on the same floor? So we have facility which is divided into 2 floors. So can we in the near future and another one closer to a metro so that traveling is convenient?
Should we wait till the metro gets ready?
No, we already have few
No, I
metro
think
stations which are
the
ready.
metro has so many of those lines going
No,
on.
the
So
ones which are near.
yes.
So there are a lot of people who travel from far, get down at metro, and traveling from metro till this location is little tough.
In the last 16 years, we have moved offices 3 times. So there is if I want to call a lethargy. Lethargy or getting complacent, but no, we will definitely if and when we move, we'll keep these suggestions in mind in terms of the travel specifically, because that is one comfort that we can possibly offer people. Yeah.
So I have one query here, again offline and anonymous. Which kind of manager you will prefer? Micromanager or indecisive?
Can you repeat that? What kind of
manager you will prefer? Micromanager or
Indecisive manager.
indecisive?
Neither. I'll give you my reasons. Definitely, an indecisive manager would actually be detrimental. A no decision is worse than a bad decision. So managers and senior people have to really be decisive. Secondly, in terms of micromanagement, it's a case-to-case basis, in my opinion. A lot of times, if I were to talk for the micromanagement manager, they are good if you need it for a particular project that needs to get done, because their intent is to get things done. Really focus, get the team on board, do whatever it takes in terms of getting things moving and getting it done. But if that habit becomes consistent, then it's a problem. An ideal characteristics of a manager is to be somebody who can really guide in terms of technically showing leadership, and more in terms of really building the team, how to bring the best in the team that is there.
Okay. I have one more offline. Again, anonymous. What makes you stay at Chenova for so long? That's why these are anonymous.
One of the reasons that if I had to go back 20 years, right? I wanted to always do something on my own. So that entrepreneurial thinking was there, or thing was there in terms of what to do. So what keeps me here is this is mine. I'm not doing a job. I'm doing something that I love. I'm doing something with all the energy and passion that I can bring in. So that keeps me going.
There is a related question to that. So as a moderator, we think this is related. Is it only Raj and Niku who takes company level decisions, or you are also part of decision making process? If yes, how often your decisions are implemented?
I think most of the decisions are done together. Genoa Offshore is a very integral part of the business. So if I have to say, most of the offshore decisions are done together. And we have our disagreements. We don't agree with things. So that's a healthy discussion, and then kind of we go with what is best in the interest of the company.
Thomas is asking, which political party do you support?
You are asking me about who do I vote for?
That he cannot be asking.
Which political party you support does not mean you voted for it.
From a political party perspective, I always look to parties that actually look for development. I mean, it doesn't have to be a BJP or a Modi. Any party that actually is looking for development is what I would really vote for, or I would support.
Rightly political answer. When Genoa will get parking space for bikes, fixed parking space. So these are. So it seems there is not a fixed parking space for the bikers over here. So can you look into that?
I have as late as last Thursday, I had called up the administrator of this because I was told that there is a fixed parking for other companies in the building. And his response was, Parag, I can assure there is none. If there is a board, we'll make sure that it is removed. The only parking that we have given is to Zomato for bikes because they have not taken any car parking. So I said, if there is anything, I mean, I've got 2 floors. I have got enough ample clout to change that decision if required.
What are your thoughts on current country's economic position?
Bad. Economic, at a very macro level, I think the world is moving from globalization to localization. Every country is trying to protect its whatever you call it, right? I mean, you have examples of India not opting for RCEP participation because it's going to hurt our farmers. You got Trump saying that I don't want to do a deal with China, or I'm going to impose sanctions, or a UK having its own challenges of Brexit. It's all about people moving to localization from the few decades of globalization that was going on. So every country is going through its pain right now, from what I have been reading.
So any questions from here?
Sweet.
What are the key milestones that we see for next 6 months or 12 months, and how do we inform our employees and the people working here that these are the milestones and this is what we together want to achieve?
Like I said, milestone, can you elaborate what?
Milestones is your targets that, okay, this is the profit margin that I'm looking at, or these are the projects that I want to work on. I want to target a new domain now. So have we set something like that, and do we pass this information to the employees?
It's not a very easy thing in terms of targets. I mean, obviously the growth is at the core of everything. To your question, in terms of growing the existing accounts, is an area that we have really been putting our focus on because there's a lot of potential. Also, in terms of getting more technical knowledge into our people, because that is what is going to be really helping us in terms of selling better. From a growth perspective, obviously we are putting our best foot forward in terms of taking this company to beyond what we are right now. But I do not have any specific goals as such that you can give it. But yes, I think I'll take that as an input to kind of see how we can be more giving you quantifiable answers in terms of where we are.
Nitin asks, the current trend is of having destination events out of Mumbai annual day. So all the questions related to annual day, I'll put it together. And can we have drinks at the annual day this time? So alcohol.
It's a question that I have been asked every year. And as much as I am open to doing it, there is no way there is a control over it. So we have seen and I've heard from outside in terms of not so pleasant experiences that people go through when that is allowed. A recent example in terms of one of our clients reaching out to us to say that please ask your employee to behave at parties. So Nitin, to your question, I think if we have the support in terms of
Nitin's question was destination events. Thomas's question was
Thomas.
we should look into destination events if we can get that into that is what that is what we need to do. We'll do it.
Pooja asks, Pooja Bhosle, what is the secret behind your fitness?
I should first and foremost thank my genes, I should say. But no, I think I have to give you my recipe. It is eat well, sleep well, and exercise.
I just wanted to add in that we should, like this kind of suggestion, we should have some kind of physical activity within the office for at least like within a week or once in a month for 5 to 10 minutes, keeping seeing the kind of time employees are spending within the office. So I think it's 5 minutes of activity. Everybody should stand up, close their eyes. A small kind of activity which can refresh them and they can get back.
I think all that is good, but at the end of the day, it's all about coming from within. I mean, to your point, a simple exercise of just climbing stairs every day itself is good enough for people like us who have a very sedentary, life in terms of at home or at work. So I can assure you that if you just climb stairs every day, we have got the 5th floor. So that is
They will ask for 1250.
Then the people start out.
that question has been answered earlier.
We have only 10 minutes with us and there are a lot many questions. We'll try to cover up as many as we can, but we end this at 8 p.m. and we'll see how we can take all the questions later on. So the next question is from Dinesh Singh. Who are the competitors of Genova and what are the plans for next 3 to 5 years? So that answers Sweetie's question. But who are the competitors of Genova?
Competitor is anybody and everybody who is into software services. I would like to compete with Infosys. I would like to compete with Cognizance, compete with CTS Tech, because we are in the IT services and we are into healthcare domain. But competition is definitely at different levels in terms of where we see ourselves lagging behind is our technical abilities, which we really need to kind of improve, sharpen, upskill, and see how best we can provide those services to our clients.
Next question is from Amir. How about we can get more clean washrooms, good infra inside the washroom, a good eco-friendly plastic spoons and all to use. So better infra is what he is asking.
Take your input. We will see what best we can do at this point. Eco-friendly plastic spoons don't go in the same sentence. Eco-friendly cannot be plastic.
Eco-friendly spoons. Avoid plastic spoons is what he said.
I am for it. We should put that and make a change.
Seema asks why we need to ask for promotion. Why it is not offered based on the performance.
Seema, to your question, I don't have an answer because I don't know. We have put the managers in terms of process and approach in terms of how to really build people and appreciate their work through different means. So, but your input should be taken in the spirit that we need to really see how do we really implement that better.
I just wanted to add this might be a long time.
If it is a question or it is addition to what Parag said.
Question.
Good.
what the employee will be doing in case if he or she thinks that the manager this might be like nobody will think that I'm doing something wrong, but a manager or person who's sitting on next side of the table would be able to understand or explain properly. But if they are not accepting it, then how the management handles that?
I think there is always a two sides of the coin, and I think there is always agreement and disagreement. And I think the first level of person who's really monitoring, supervising your work would be in the best position to kind of be able to give you the feedback, and that's why we keep this or encourage the discussions on a quarterly basis, so that information is transparent in terms of how you want to deal with what you are doing, where you need to improve, and those things. As far as disagreement goes, obviously there is a channel through HR in terms of voicing your concerns, and we look at it in terms of saying that okay, what can we do? Because we have to hear both sides of the story.
Any kind of 360-degree feedback for future we can plan for?
We had started that exercise last year, and it will take a little while before we get there, because the first level of transparency in terms of communication at multiple levels is to happen.
Kiran Dhanak asked, sitting over here and asking on chat, what is the highest budgeted project backed by Genoa?
I don't know how much but I think from a duration point of view, the recent project that we won at DOH, LeadQuest, is the longest and that I can think of. I mean, obviously, we have worked with HRA for a long time, so it depends on what duration. When you say these projects are projects should be considered along with the count and the duration, right? So
what about the budget? What I meant to ask.
Budget
Millions or
Profit.
no, not profit. It's a it's overall budget of a project,
So
not
it's
from
a
the
1 million
revenue,
project or 2
not from
million
the profit or side of view, but overall.
The cost.
It's the cost of the project.
So if I take an example of an HRA, right, we've got engagements over the last 12 years. Should I count that, or are you talking about projects that we're getting now?
So probably till date, I can say. It has been like from in my career with Genoa, it has been with the likes of CCX I've came into. I've recruited from CCX till now. Zenio is, or probably I don't know about the latest projects, but yeah, Zenio is what I keep on hearing about. So in the era of from CCX to Zenio, it's not about the future, but yeah.
I think each of these projects has its own value. By putting a value to a project, it might kind of belittle something else. So for us, every project is important. In terms of the kind of work we are doing, sometimes we kind of end up taking projects that has a value add. If I look at an example of CCSI, right? We use CCSI, or we got an opportunity to do work on Azure, right? So there is always a give and take in terms of how do we really, as an IT services organization, we build the competency along with focus on business.
There's one more question on, can we use office Wi-Fi on mobile? With of course a limit.
ISMS policy पढ़ा नहीं क्या?
Aditya, go read ISMS policy, please.
Pretty clear things.
So there's one offline query here. It's anonymous. What is the most memorable happy moment for you at Genoa?
Every day.
Okay. So there are 2-3 people asking this. Can we come up with some program where we have association with gym, fitness programs and all?
Sure. I think because we do not have a facility or ability to kind of get something in-house, I think that's a good thought. We'll review it.
Probably we can have something, a session, tough session every month, once or every quarter once.
Session for what?
Tough session for sports.
Yeah, these are great ideas. I think if we have people interested, and we definitely can.
I would be.
I play once a year in a sports event, right?
Again, 2 more minutes, and we'll be taking possibly 3 or 4 questions, and then we'll be giving Parag a break to this.
Okay.
Is Genoa doing managers review, and if yes, then who's doing it? they are managers. It's a simple question to answer, but yeah.
I think we have a hierarchy in terms of those things. So.
Yeah. So Aarti, there is a hierarchy which has been followed.
This one was asked by Hardik. How to handle rude, angry, boring clients?
How to handle rude, angry, boring clients? Read rule number 1: client is the king.
Okay, Mike has one interesting question for you. If zombies attack you, whom do you sacrifice first, Mike or Raj?
Zombies attack. Who do you sacrifice first? Mike and Raj. I think they play equal role as far as I'm concerned. So neither is useful to me.
I think we can end on this question asked by Litain. What are your expectations from us as Chenoids?
Learn, contribute, grow.
Nicely answered in 3 words: learn, contribute, and grow. Okay, to the crowd who has attended this meeting, there are a lot many questions which are still unanswered, but we have to limit it at 8 p.m. and it's already 8 p.m. So we'll have to end it. We'll see. We'll come back to you shortly on how to answer the questions which are still pending. Thank you so much for joining us, Parag. If we have to conclude, how did you feel your last 1 hour? Are you going to say this was my most memorable moment from now on?
I think definitely one of the most, if not the most, because thank you. I mean, Rex and Krishna, you guys have done a great job in terms of putting all this together. And I'm not exaggerating. I had no idea in terms of how these guys were doing it and how it has come out in terms of the smoothness. Tells me that it takes a lot of effort has gone in terms of reaching here, because I know in terms of what it takes to get things done. So a big thank you in terms of how you guys have really been able to pull all this together. And yes, I think we have a good start, and definitely one of the best moments till date.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for all the good questions, and look forward to doing this more often.
Thank you for having
Thank you,
us.
Parag.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We will be sending you the link of the recording session.